Easily the most load-bearing and novel system in Knight Errant is the combat system. I get a lot of questions about it, so I set out to answer as many as I can with this video. I enjoy the combat of Advanced D&D as it does a good job capturing the abstraction of battle that you see in Appendix N literature. For example, you don't often get blow-by-blow breakdowns of battle in Robert E. Howard's Conan stories. Knight Errant doesn't strive for perfect realism with its combat resolution, but it strives to capture the blend of instinct and calculation that can be found in combat sports like MMA and fencing, especially historical fencing or Fechten, which is armored fighting. For combat sport, the three key points of focus I wanted to capture. Number one, reading enemy intent and obscuring your own intent. Feinting is the pinnacle of obscuring your own intent, where you're deceiving the foe and responding to an action which will not happen. Number two, observant fighters should be able to adapt to enemy tactics and capitalize on enemy weaknesses. This relates to point one, but is especially accentuated by asymmetry in weaponry and a greater focus on the difference between weapons. Number three, asymmetrical armaments or martial arts dictate the nature of a fight. A spear wielder must keep foes at a distance. A brigand armed with a long knife must slip past the spear point if he wants a chance of victory. The fight between these two combatants will be dictated by this dynamic. Today I'm recording to show you a combat demonstration for the Knight Errant skirmish level system. So I'm using a site called playingcards.io. I've got no affiliation with the site. This is just a very easy way to demonstrate everything digitally rather than recording my messy kitchen tabletop. So at the bottom here you can see my hand, which is called an action pool in the game. I've got attack cards, guard, evade, grapple, and feint. So based on level, encumbrance, a couple other factors, you're going to have a different amount of cards in your hand. I got them on the side here, I got one on the table. So on the back of these cards you're going to see little manuscript men. I'll do an overlay to show kind of a larger, higher definition picture, but you got this guy swinging an axe over his head. That's the overhead orientation. Play like this, you got the sweeping orientation. Like this, you've got a thrust. So how I play this card face down on the table is an indicator of what I'm actually going to do with it. Now, I might play it, see this is an attack. I'm going to play it like this, facing my enemy who's across from me in the table, or for all intents and purposes, he's just going to be right here. So he sees that I've got this overhead swing. Now, he doesn't know if I'm attacking, he doesn't know if I'm guarding, if it's a feint or what, or grapple. So now it's time for him to respond. So our opponent, he's smart. He's thinking, all right, he's probably swinging at me. So I'm going to play a guard card. And now he's matching up the overhead face with mine. So what he has played pointing towards me is the orientation. So he's doing an overhead. He thinks I'm attacking. Now, the round is broken up into action cycles and activations. So an action cycle is just 3 activations, and each activation is just a kind of a time slot that a card can fit into. Attacks, guards, evade, and grapple all fit into one activation. Feint is a little bit tricky. A feint card is kind of just a placeholder. I put it down on the table. People think that it's a legitimate action like an attack, and they respond to it. When I reveal the feint card, it just goes right back into, take it right off the table, and then the next card that I've played takes effect. So I'll show you what that means. So we've played these 2, and there's 3 activations in an action cycle, so we can play up to 2 more cards, excluding feints. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this like a thrust. He thinks that I'm thrusting with an attack, so he's going to play an evade. He's going to dodge, let's just say, he's just going to dodge to the side. And evade works as long as you're using it in any direction but the direction of attack. So he's kind of going to dodge to the left there. And now I know that he's going to... I'm trying to bait him to dodge. I can kind of intuit that's what he's going up to, or he's up to do. So now I'm going to play my attack in this direction. And let's say he thinks I'm going to attack again after that. So from his perspective, all he has to do is guard. Now it's time to start flipping these cards over and pairing them off. So we flip over our first set of cards. They're paired up in the first activation. I attacked. He guarded. Okay, nothing happens. Great. Good for him. Now this thrust turns out to be a feint. So he dodges. That's just fine. But now his evade gets paired up with this. So he's evading, and I'm attacking right into it. So he steps to the right, or he steps over to his right, my left, and that's where I'm swinging from. I catch him with it. And now he's taking damage. Ouch, that's a roll of 6. So he's probably dropping dead from that one. So we cleaned up the board. We've shown you the basic hierarchy of actions. Now I'm going to show how class abilities and weapon choice can change things up. Because effectively your weapon, your class, sometimes your race, etc., they cheat the system. This is rock, paper, and scissors, but we can now cheat, and sometimes scissors can beat rock. So I'm going to pretend on this side of the board I'm a level 2 Kingsman class, which is kind of like a fighter. They're very versatile and very effective in melee combat, but that's pretty much all they do. So my opponent has played an overhead card, and I think it might be an overhead attack. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So this is all we're playing for the round. We reveal, okay, he was attacking. Now, at level 2, Kingsmen unlock the countercutting ability. Countercutting says that I can essentially choose, once we revealed our cards, I can choose whether my attack resolves as an attack or a guard against this one opponent. So let's say he's got a pole hammer, something that's definitely going to crack through my armor. He's a much higher threat than my longsword is against him. Let's say he's got some armor. So chances are I'm not going to win this trade. So I'm going to choose to countercut. So I'm essentially attacking straight to his weapon, and that's being counted as a guard. So I'm now safe. So the last demonstration I have for you guys today is weapon choice and how that can mess with the hierarchy of actions. So every weapon type shares a perk. So all axes share the shield splitter perk. So whenever someone's trying to guard against an attack from an axe using a shield, there's a 3 in 6 or 50% chance that the axe is going to bypass that guard. So here's my great axe attack. I'm attacking into this guy's shield, and he's guarding. And I roll a 2, so I don't bypass. Just for the heck of it, it'll show, alright, perfect, I got a 4. So I bypass that. This is just a typical man-at-arms. He's got an average of 3 health. So let's see what my great axe does to him. 2 damage. So he's down to 1 health, even though he guarded. So he used up an action card to protect himself and it didn't work out. So just from one example, you can see how weapon choice completely changes a fight, especially if it's asymmetrical. If your opponent has a different weapon from you, you're going to have to change up a lot of what you do, and he's going to change up a lot of how he does to come out ahead. On the right-hand side here, I've got a white placeholder card. This is our digital solution to blind effects. So all hammers have the bell ringer perk, so that if you hit someone on the head with a mace, they are blinded for the next action cycle, or next 3 cards that someone plays. So if I'm blinded, I am not allowed to see the orientation of any of the cards you're playing. I just have to guess how many you're playing, and I have to guess what you're doing. It's complete fog of war. And if you really want to see someone flounder at the table, put them up against an ogre dual-wielding maces. The first time they get hit on the gourd, if they survive it, they are in full panic mode. That's all I've got for today, fellas. If you liked what you saw, please check out the Kickstarter link in the description and back us. We've only got about a week left in the campaign, so all the support we get now means the world to us. Thank you. God bless you.